Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at United Health. It is time for another update, and today we will be discussing about the relevant levels of support to watch out for, as well as the extensions we can still expect within this movement to the downside that has occurred over the last few weeks. But before we get there, I would like to go quickly through the larger time frame for any of you who might be new. And here we are looking at a series of 1-2-1-2 setups, where then we have our third wave up, and now we are tracking this wave 4 correction, in which we expect to find support in the area between the $260 level all the way down to the $96 level at the 50% retracement, where as long as we hold this level of support, the 50% retracement, we can still look for a reversal to the upside to new all-time highs within a wave 5. Now, as I was mentioning in multiple of the previous videos, we have been tracking this idea for a while. It is rather likely than not at this point that we actually still extend further down within this correction in the wave 4. So far we did reach the area of support, so technically we would have completed the minimum expectations from that point of view, but the movement, the pattern to the downside that has occurred since the top of the wave 3 is actually a 5-wave structure within a leading diagonal in a wave A. And even though it is within a leading diagonal, it is rather likely than not, it is suggested to us that we should expect here a correction in a wave B within the area, or into the area between the $342 all the way up to the $510 level at the 78.6% retracement, and then continuation in another 5-wave move to the downside within the wave C. This is quite a typical zigzag correction, probably one of the simplest of the corrections. It's probably one of the simplest corrective patterns overall that we can actually get. Now, within this wave B, of course, if we actually end up breaking above the 78.6% retracement, the probabilities would already start to shift in favor of having a low already formed, but so far we may even consider this move to the upside a 5-wave move, but that isn't even indicative of actually having a bottom within the wave 4 in this area. It just suggests to us that sure, we might extend higher within this wave B. We might form something like an ABC structure, and maybe, who knows, push even into the 78.6% retracement, but after that it would still be at a very, very high risk of breaking down still into the wave C to the downside. Now, within this structure to the upside, while I can track it as a 5-wave move within a wave A, it would be within a leading diagonal, and I do have to say it is not necessary for me to track this as a 5-wave pattern, because what we have actually been looking for to have developed previously within this area is something like an ABC structure instead, within which we could easily consider this wave B complete. Now, in that case, we need to be watching out for the 1-2 setup, which honestly, we already have the wave 1 prepared and possibly even the wave 2 done, where depending on how deep and the structure within which we retrace into this area of support, we should be more or less prepared for the wave C to the downside in white to have already started. Now, at this point, there's nothing indicating that this is going to fall through directly. We have our initial 5-wave move down within this area, and we have pushed into the area of resistance of a wave 2, or in the case of what we are tracking here on this chart, in a wave B. But the movement to the downside continues, and who knows, this wave B may not even be over at this point. But this is the area we have been tracking since the previous video. I provided you this area as a backup for the case that we actually break above the resistance levels here in what we were tracking in the green scenario for an extension to lower prices. So since this structure did not extend lower, we were looking to push directly into this area of resistance in yellow between the $338 all the way up to the $366, which we did. And now we may actually remove here even the green scenario. So we may have a wave B top in this case. We may have completed already the 5-wave structure, a 1, 2, 3, 4th, and the 5th within a wave A. And now we were looking for the wave B correction, which is in a WXY apparently. This is what the structure looks like. And now we can actually already start exploring the wave C to the downside. Well, within such a structure, assuming that we have topped in the wave B, we can look for the ideal target for a wave C, which in this case is the 100% extension of the wave A, which would be at around the $283 level, around the 61.8% retracement. Now keep in mind, this is an ideal target. We don't need to get there and we don't need to stop there certainly, but it is generally what the wave C is drawn towards. What would actually that be in line? Well, just a little bit of structural support in this area, nothing too significant here in the near term. So we should also be watching out here for the 50% retracement. I believe I mentioned this in the previous video as well, as we also have some significant, even more significant probably, structural support in this area as well. But honestly, I am just looking for the 5-wave move down. It could end much earlier, especially if we don't get a more significant retracement here within the wave B. But at this point, there's no telling. I could easily see this wave B extend, where if we actually even manage to break here above the $366 level, we may have even already found a bottom, because after all, if we look from a larger time frame perspective, we have reached the area of support we were tracking here for the wave B. Technically, we could see a reversal in the wave C to the upside without any issues. It would be unlikely, since we have formed a 5-wave move to the downside, which is why we are also tracking even here on the larger time frame after this 5-wave move to the downside, the continuation. But that is not to say it is impossible for the structure to morph into something different. Now, within this push to the upside, we have managed to reach decent levels, but this structure, this movement back down, has pushed unfortunately deep, where I could consider that this would be just an ABC pattern that could still extend here within the wave B, but I have to say I don't necessarily find it favorable based on the structure that has formed here internally for us to push higher within the wave C here, for example, in the blue scenario, in a reset here of the wave B, but we need to be open to the idea. Now, what we have here in the very, very near term resistance levels, well, the structure is on the quite short time frame, but what I would be looking out for is even a possible impulse forming to the downside, where basically we have a 1 2 1 2, then another 1 2 here, a couple of additional 1 2 in this area, a third wave down, and then I'm looking here for the correction in a wave 4. Now within this area, I would be watching out for resistance at the levels between the 23.6% retracement, in which case we would really be looking here at actually the wave 4 at the $324 level, all the way up to the 50% retracement at the $327.6 level. And in this case, we seem to have already managed to reach the first level of resistance a couple of times, and already got rejected. Now, if we end up pushing below the $320 level, I would be watching out with slightly increased probabilities of a direct downfall within this wave C in yellow. But honestly, within such corrections, it is more often than you think that we actually get even overshoots to the downside and then still manage to push higher, and only afterwards we get into the actual wave C. So I believe the best thing that I could really suggest within this area is to zoom out a little and look from a slightly larger perspective. Now, of course, you can track this internal area of resistance, but what I believe is best will still be to zoom out a little and look for from the larger perspective, maybe for the ideal target for the wave C, maybe the 50% retracement, the support levels that we have here as well, and basically keep an eye out for the wave C that could be unfolding to the downside within white. For now, I am still looking for continuation higher. I do still prefer another high within this wave C, but ideally from after forming here an ABC structure internally within this larger wave B. And for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.